Hi guys, welcome to the next part of this video. We're going to be bringing in what we've rendered out from Cinema 4D into After Effects, and we're going to be adding our cool universe background. So to start off, hit Control I and we're going to import our PNG sequence. Make sure the PNG sequence is ticked, otherwise you're just going to import one frame. So go ahead and import that, and we are going to drag it down to make a new composition. Okay, so we can play this just to see what it looks like. So okay, came out pretty well. Okay, so first of all we want to add a background. So Control Y to create a new solid, and we're going to call this background, and click OK on that. And we want to add a gradient ramp. So in your effects panel, just type in gradient, and gradient ramp's right here. We can drag this onto the background layer. Now we want to start the ramp about here, and we want to end the ramp about here. And we're going to go for a nice dark blue, very dark blue there. And for the end color, we're going to go blue again. We're going to go a little bit lighter on that. Click OK. Okay, so we have some banding going on. You can see these lines. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on this video, but there's some clear banding going on. And basically, banding is when the color of the gradient is very visible. So the gradual change of color from blue to light blue, it's producing this ugly effect called banding, basically. To get rid of that, you can bring up the ramp scatter, and that smooths it out a good bit. And shift / to basically bring your screen into the center there. Fit to window, basically, which is fit up to 100% or fit. So that's fine. Happy enough with that. And we also now we can just see what that looks like. So obviously we have to bring this background to the back, and now the earth comes in there. Okay, cool. So we want to create a new layer again. So Control Y to create a new solid, and we're gonna call this Fractal noise. And this is where we're going to create our kind of cloud effect. So hit OK there, and we want to grab some fractal noise, and just here it is. We're going to drag this onto our fractal noise layer, and we want to set the blending mode to classic color dodge. Okay, so there we have it. Now we're going to mess around with the settings here a bit. So we are going to change this to spline, and we are going to set our contrast. We'll leave our contrast as it is, actually. And brightness, we're going to set it at about -2. For our complexity, we can leave it at 6, and our scale, we want to crank that up a fair bit to about there. We'll say 255. And then we're going to go to our evolution. And what we want to do is we want to go to our first frame, and we are going to set a keyframe there. Go all the way to the very end and set this evolution to 1 and hit enter. And now our fractal noise is going to be animated. So it's quite subtle, but we don't want it to be too crazy. If you want, you could always turn this up to 2 if you want it more noticeable. But mine at 1, so I'm going to go back to the end frame and set this to 1. Okay, so that's cool. I'm going to mess around with my background gradient a little bit just to see if we can get it looking a little bit cooler than that. I'm going to go a bit darker there. Yeah, I like it there. I like that. Okay, sticking with that. Okay, so next we want to add in some stars, some background stars that are going to fade in and out. So to do that, we're going to create another solid, Control Y, and we're going to call this particles. And I'm just going to change the color of this to black. It doesn't matter what the color is, just so I can differentiate between the fractal noise layer and the particles layer. Okay, that's fine. And we are going to search for the particles effect. Just type in particle and it's CC particle world. Drag that over to your particles layer. And this is what we get starting off. So obviously this isn't what we want. This looks like somebody's drilling a hole in the universe. So we basically go down through each one of these properties and see what we want to change. So first of all, I'm just going to turn off the grid because it's in my way. And I am going to go to birth rate. And I am going to leave that at 2 for now. And I'm going to go to particle. And the particle type, change to lens concave. No, we don't want that. We want lens convex. And we are going to set. Okay, so let me open up the solid settings on this, and it seems to be causing our particles. So I've set the color to black, so it's making the particles black, so we need to change that back to white and click OK. So what I've done is actually created a new solid, so bear with me. I want to go to layer, solid settings, and change it to white here. Okay, so now our particles are white. Cool. Now, so they're just flying out of the center there, so we want to basically add some resistance, so they're not going to be flying anywhere really. They're just going to kind of be stuck there in the middle. We are going to remove the gravity so that they're going to float. And we also want to change the size of them also. So we're going to bring the birth size down to 0.004 and the same for the death size, 0.004. So now they're pretty small. Maybe too small. I'm going to go a little bit bigger. 0.009, 0.009. Okay, so they're a bit bigger now. And we want to increase the size, so you can actually grab this little red square here and drag it over. You can increase the size of it that way. Alternatively, you can go to the producer tab here and you can increase the radius. So we don't want to do it on the z-axis. It's no harm to do a little bit on the z-axis to give it a bit of variation to the size and a bit of depth. And I'm going to do the same on the y-axis to bring it up there like that. And a little bit more on the x-axis also. So let's see what we got. Okay. So I'm going to turn up the longevity so that they last a bit longer. Otherwise you're going to have this flash on and on kind of a look, which isn't what we want. So that's way better. And as you can see at the start, there is nothing at the start. So I'm going to bring the layer, I'm going to drag it left so that it's already started by the time the animation has started. And hit play there. And that's looking pretty cool. As it is now, I think it's looking pretty cool. So I'm going to call it a day on this. So all we have to do now is to render this out. And to do so, we just go to Composition, Add to Media Encoder Queue. It's a mouthful. And that's going to load up. And it takes a little bit of time, so I'm just going to pause the video now, and then I'll continue on once this is loaded up. Okay, so this is loaded up now, and our composition has been added to the queue. So we can click here if you want to change the location that it's going to save out to, or if you want to change the file name. So I'm just going to save this to my desktop, and I'm going to call this New Earth Sequence. That's fine. Save it there, and then hit play. And that's going to render out. And that concludes all the parts of this tutorial. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. I hoped you learned a lot. And this is my first YouTube tutorial. So if anybody has any advice, tips, or things that I could have done better, any advice would be greatly appreciated. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.